So this is the first parallel session in IRSA Conference 2021. Our parallel session brings topic on social capital and trust. We will have 4 presenters today. So the first presenter is Mr. Adenantera Dwicaksono from Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. He will present a paper titled What's the Connection, Community Social Capital and Utilization of Cardiovascular Health Service in Indonesia. And the second presenter is Richard Hutajulu from Jakarta State University. Mr. Richard will present his paper titled Analysis of the Effect of Work from Home Policy on Work Performance in Indonesia. And the third one is Ms. Siti Parhah from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. She will present a paper titled Social Network and Earning Differential of Internal Migrant in Indonesia, a Switching Regression. The last presenter will be Ms. Wulan Wiaturi from Economics and Business Faculty, UGM. She will present a paper titled Migration and Transfer of Gender Norm in Indonesia. I just want to remind all presenters to keep the time as our schedule is very tight. So each participant will have 15 minutes each to present your paper. After the time will be given to the floor to ask question. And for this Q&A session, the time allocation is 10 minutes. So each paper will have 25 minutes, for both presenting and Q&A session. We will remind each presenter if we have 5 minutes left and 1 minute left. So if presenter exceed the time, it will reduce the time for Q&A for discussing the paper. So I will have Mbak Ellen here who will assist me to remind all presenter on the time. I encourage all participants to post your question or comments in the Q&A chat to save time. But I will read the question or comments. And for those who want to ask directly, please raise your hand, and you can open your mic to ask question or give comments. Okay. So without further ado, I will give the floor to our first presenter, Mr. Adenantera Dwicaksono. So time is yours. Okay.
Thank you. I will start to share my presentation.
Okay, please.
Okay, can you see?
Yeah, but maybe you can make it like a slideshow for like the whole screen, just one.
My slide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've already. Okay.
Yeah. Please, Pak Adenantera. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. State University of New York, Albany. So the title of my presentation outline about my presentation. I will start with the background, and I also talk about a little bit about the conceptual framework of the social capital that I will be using in this study, and then I will outline some of the research methods, data, and what are the statistical analysis that we were doing, and a result, and also highlight some of the conclusion from our works. Okay, to give so transition, and we will face annually in Indonesia, and it is also expected about the economic loss about $1.7 trillion, very high cost, and it very high burden for Indonesia.
Adenantera,
And
we
it also creates
to
some
hear your
issues
voice.
about the unmet needs. Sorry?
Yeah, I think your voice is not clear, so it's on and off. I don't know whether my connection or your connection, but maybe you can, maybe, I don't know, Mbak Ellen, it is okay if Pak Adenantera like close his video. Maybe it is more stable. It will be more.
It's all right.
Okay. Yeah. So because your voice is on and off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to switch off my video. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Is it clear? Clear now?
Yeah. Yeah. I will.
Oh, it is clear.
The voice.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. You can.
Hello.
Continue. Yeah.
Okay. So there is a for the
Sorry, Pak. We cannot hear you.
Community. I'm sorry. This is like. Okay. How about this now?
Yeah. You can try. Yeah. You can try.
Okay. So there's an idea of taking advantage of social capital as a means to ensure access to health service, and also it's resonate with the ongoing policy debates on how to incorporate the community aspect or community-based approach to local development or to health service delivery in Indonesia. Okay, I want to check again. So can you hear my voice clearly now?
Yes.
Okay. So why social capital? Social capital have received growing interest about in many areas of development, and especially in health, there is growing evidence that empirical studies on social capital have contributed positive effect on individuals' physical and mental health, and especially self-rated health outcomes. However, although there are many studies that confirm the positive contribution of social capital, but the mechanism how the social capital linked to health is still ill understood. Especially whether social capital works as the individual attributes, which means that if I have like more, if I see myself as an individual, have more social capitals, more social network is better off. Or if I live in a neighborhood with a thick social capital, will I be more better off? So there's a tension between this. And most studies examining the relationship between social capital and health outcome focus on health status, mortality, mental illness, mental health, and other health-related behaviors. But whether social capital contribute to how to patient or people access or utilize health service is still limited. So for this purpose, we try to exploit 3 dimensions as a way to teasing out what is the mechanism, what is plausible or possible mechanism how social capital can affect health, particularly the use of health services. So we use the 3 dimensions of social capital: the bonding, bridging, and linking. And basically, bonding social capital refers to like trust and cooperative relationship between very close individuals. And then bridgings, slightly different with the bonding because it's involve groups or other people with different background or social identity. And linking, dimension of social capital is reflects about the relationship between the individual with the formal structures in the governments or service delivery or political institution. So with a review of literature, we try to establish some of the possible mechanisms, whether either it is individual or group mechanisms. So for example, for the bonding and bridging at the individual level, social capital may act as a social support or social influence. And for linking, for example, at the individual can exploit their network links to access the material resources. If I have contact in the service delivery, I can try to exploit that relationship to for my benefits. But also for group at the group level, having a community that have a vibrant and good connection between each other also would also able to promote the collective action. So, given that that the 3 dimensions of social capital, we devise the conceptual framework that help us to study. So we start with the utilization of cardiovascular care. It is determined with the personal characteristics, sex, age, education, the status of head of whole household, wealth, and so on, and also individual social capital, trust, tolerance, and participation. And this give like the compositional effects of the use of cardiovascular care. And then at the community levels, there are we distinguish between the community characteristic and the community social capital. It gives contextual effects on the utilization of cardiovascular care, but also it may act as a moderators of the individual compositional effects. So given this conceptual framework, we now pose 2 research questions. First, we want to investigate if social capital associated with changes in utilization of cardiovascular is social capital contribute to better access or better use of cardiovascular care. And then we want to investigate whether it is an individuals or community levels. And then we also want to ask about how social capital affect use of cardiovascular care in poor communities. So to address this question, we use the data from Indonesian Family Life Survey 2007 and 2014. The sample is the individual who were 40 or older during the 2007, who were identified to have elevated CVD risk based on the Framingham CVD risk score, who are still present in 2014 survey. And so if you can see, if you see in the right panel, this is the process of selecting the samples. And for the final observation, we identified 3,683 3 final observation of individuals. And because for the outcome variables, because we are interested in the use of care. So there are 2 outcome variables. First, about whether the respondent receive any health examinations related to cardiovascular, and the second is about the health treatment for the cardiovascular condition. So these are the survey questions that we use to create our binary variable for the outcome variables. For the social capital variables, we utilize some survey question. For the dimension for the bonding dimension is about the interpersonal trust. And then for the bridging dimension, we operationalize as a mutual respect toward people with different religions. And these are the questions that we use to create the variables, and also for the linking dimension. So how we construct the measure for social capital. So we use that survey question, and then we aggregate with using the principal component analysis and normalize them into z-scores. And also we control for other individual and community variables at the individual attributes, sex, age, the status of health of household, total years of education, living in near health facilities, health insurance, per capita expenditure, and the community attribute, percentage of per household as a variable of neighborhood deprivation, rural community, ethnic diversity, and so on. For the statistical analysis, we use the hierarchical generalized linear models. And there are 3 models for each outcome variables. First is a random intercept model to estimate the contextual effect of community social capital and other contextual factors. And then we move to random intercept and slope model to estimate the how is affecting the group factor also affect the individuals effect. And then the third model is random intercept and slope model with cross-level interaction. And all variables were grand mean center for each interpretation. These are the result of the descriptive statistic. I will only highlight some of the variables. For the outcome variables, for the total, there's like about 3/4 of the sample were receive any CVD health cardiovascular diseases health examination, and only 15% of the sample who were receive any treatment related to cardiovascular diseases. Bear in mind, if the number of sample is different from the number of observation identified for earlier, because we already accounted for the weight, sampling weight in this analysis. So what is the regression result? So these are the regression results for the first model. And as you can see that there is a significance in the community participation score in the model 1, and it's no longer significant in the subsequent model, but we found consistent participation score effect of participant score in the model 2 and model 3. So what do this finding means? So the potential we found that the potential positive contextual effect of community participation is actually attenuated or is omitted when we include individual social capital variable, which means that the individual's social capital variable, individual social capital matter most compared to the contextual effect of social capital. And we also found the consistent positive effect of individual linking social capital, which means that if the person who are very engaged in the community, very engaged in group activities, are more likely to have able to access like CVD health examination. And we also have some potential enhancing effect of individual participation score and the community poverty level. So it's likely that even though the result is not significant, it's marginally significant. Individual with high participation score and living in a relatively poorer community is more likely to receive CVD health examination. For the second outcome,
Adenantera, your
yes?
time 1 minute more.
Okay, I will just only few slides left. This is for the second outcome variable. So the result is that we couldn't find any significant contextual and individuals effect of social capital for the treatment. But we also we found the significant positive cross-level interaction effect of neighborhood deprivation on the relationship between individual participation score and the use of cardiovascular treatments in model 3. For this, you can see in this row. So what conclusion that we come up? So first, it's the finding highlight the importance of linking social capital in determining patient access of utilization of CVD care, and significant cross-level interaction suggest the important roles of individual social capital in the context of resource-constrained environment. What is the implication? So it is provide support for incorporating social capital as a component of health system in Indonesia, and also highlight limitation of social capital to ensure access to costlier clinical treatment as indicated in the second outcome variable. So health financing reform, for example, social health insurance is key for providing access to those in needs in CVD treatment. Some limitation, there's possibility of remaining residual indigeneity. Outcome variable based on self-report, it might be prone to recall bias, and some individual and community level social capital were constructed using survey question, which might not be adequately measure social capital. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Adenantera. Maybe you can close your presentation and if you can open again your video. I hope you have better connection now. Okay, so I would like to. Okay, we have Mas Yogi here. Maybe Mas Yogi can ask directly to Pak Adenantera.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't open my video.
Okay, yeah.
So thank you, Pak Adi, for a very interesting presentation. So my question is, like in the place I'm living in, one of the contributors to high rates of the cardiovascular disease is unhealthy lifestyle. I guess from your presentation, I think it's very interesting, and I wonder whether it is possible to direct the social capital, especially participation, to also shape the healthy lifestyle that develop a better condition that reduce the cardiovascular disease. So more on prevention rather than treatment or examination. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Yogi. Actually, there's a discussion about the mechanism of the social capital itself to to health. So one of the possible explanation is that aside of like participation, but like the bonding or bridging might also have the protective effect on cardiovascular health, because, for example, like for bonding, if you trust with the bonding social capital, if you trust your neighbor, you believe what your neighbor or your families or your group, your peer group, about what is the healthy, what is the acceptable norms of living, then it will contribute the health outcome. So if you live in groups or in a neighborhood who believe that like cardiovascular diseases is not contribute to any behavioral factor, for example, smoking and so on, you will believe that. So if you, it is important to, because the group will kind of like enforce what is the acceptable behavior to the acceptable or belief to the individual. So that's why sometimes in discussion of social capital, most of the discussion of social capital always positive, that social capital may lead for positive outcome of health. But some research also shows that there is a negative consequences of the social capital. If you are very if you living in a society that in a group that believe in or get used or a tradition that are harmful to the health outcome, for example, if it is not the context of cardiovascular, but if you recall about the for pregnancy for pregnant mother, there are some like, okay, you cannot eat this, you cannot do this, you cannot doing this during your pregnancy because it will affect your health child. But it is based on the like traditional belief and so on, which might be harmful to the health. That's might be more probably the pregnant mother will believe those compared to what the doctor or professional health worker say. So it is very plausible. So that's why how to like health workers to reach out the people to disseminate any information or good lifestyle leading to better cardiovascular health is important. So it replaced the belief or the practices in the groups that can contribute to better health outcomes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I would like to give a second opportunity question to Pak Romi Hartarto. So maybe you can ask directly to Pak Adenantera your question that you have posed in the chat.
Hi, Pak Ade. Thank you very much for the presentation. It's really interesting. My question, is there any rural-urban difference since, is there any rural-urban difference since social capital is more stringent in rural area? And you mentioned about endogeneity issue. I agree with that. And what kind of potential instrument that you can use for social capital? Because in your model, I think that the community social capital will affect the individual social capital, so there might be a potential autocorrelation problem in your model. Thank you.
Yeah, Robbie, for the question. Yeah, we didn't check the differences in social capital between the what is it, the urban, but we know that that rural and urban contexts also have different effect on compositional contextual effect on the behavior or health-seeking behavior for people to access that. For example, because like in the in the rural areas, health facilities or health services are more scarce compared to the urban areas. And in the I think you have a good point to take a look about the differences in the at least a score, the average score between the rural and urban areas, and it might help to to probably correct some of the indigenities. Yeah, some of the indigenities problem that that can be posed in this research is that if we in the model is that we predict the people use the healthcare. We predict people with the high social capital will use health services, but it probably it can be in other way around. So, for example, if the person used the health service first, yeah. For example, okay, I feel unhealthy and I need to go to the posyandu or to puskesmas, and then after that, because he or she knows about more information about how they can access the services, and then they start to engage more in the community. So that's the potential problem with the indigeneity. And so for the instrumental variable that to address this, so far I didn't really think that yet now, because one of the issues is that we use the Indonesian Family Life Survey, and we are afraid that we couldn't find very good instrumental variables that may correct the endogeneity problems. So yeah, that probably my response for now. So because this is still ongoing works for now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pak Adenantera, for your excellent presentation. Thank you also for Pak Yogi and Pak Romi for your valuable comments. Yeah, I think this endogeneity problem has to be addressed appropriately, and hopefully Pak Adenantera can solve that problem. Okay, so we will move to second presenter, Pak Richard Hutajulu. Without further ado, I would like to give the forum to Pak Richard, 15 minutes for presentation. Okay.
Thank you, Bu Alin.
Please, yeah.
Try to share screen my presentation. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, Pak Richard. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you make it to like slideshow?
Okay. Okay. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you before for the time to present my study analysis, the impact of work from home policy on job performance in Indonesia. This is abstract, yeah. I think it's no need to see before to understand this background. The Indonesia, as the most populous country in the South Asia, is home to around 136 million workers, based on Central Bureau of Statistics. Because Indonesia is a country that has been seriously affected by the COVID pandemic, the government has taken the initiative to implement a work from home policy in affected city. Now it's PPKM in all of Java and Bali. Innovation in technology increase the possibility of working from home. Implication of work from home arrangements for individual quality of working life are discussed by Samir and Salomon. Employee may not get recognition and support when need, and this may lead to employee dissatisfaction as their social need cannot be fulfilled by working from home. Marshall say, the effect of work from home on job performance of employee remain debatable by Alan Godley and Shockley. This study objective is measuring factor to influence the job performance relating to work from home policy case in Indonesia. Previous research, we have two variable, independent and dependent. Is work from home influence to work environment, and this based on the researcher before, and work from home influence to job satisfaction, and work from home influence work motivation, and also work environment influence job performance, and job satisfaction impact to job performance, and also work motivation impact to job performance. This is the hypothesis of this study is work from home, and this model, hypothesis model, hypothesis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have, I have these 6 hypotheses. Is work from home has positive and significant effect on work environment. Hypothesis 2 is work from home has a positive and significant effect on job satisfaction. Hypothesis 3, work from home has a positive and significant effect on work motivation, and work environment has positive and significant effect on job performance. And also job satisfaction has a positive and significant effect on job performance. And the other is work motivation has positive and significant effect on job performance. This is based on the previous researcher. This is adaptation indicator of from the previous research. Work from home have 4 indicators, and work environment by Delcran et al. Also 4 indicators. Job satisfaction also have 4 indicators, and work motivation only 3 indicators by Olafson, and job performance have 4 indicators by Chong. The study method is a total of 713 valid respondents who answered the questionnaire came from employees in Indonesia, which were obtained from online social media. The data were tested for validity and reliability with SPSS 250 software. Then the model was analyzed using structural equation model SAM AMOS. The criteria, the valid questionnaire category are, this is a proposed sampling, respondent who answer all questions, respondent who work as employee for at least 3 years and work in the territory of Indonesia. And based on Salomon, say the minimum of sample is 10 time indicator. It means it's acceptable because we have a valid respondent 700 something. This is a validity and reliability. As shown in the table for all, this is a result. Indicate are greater than 0.7 except from the index of work motivation, which is marginally accepted. Accepted because more than 0.6 something. Finally, a validity and reliability test on all items were declared valid and reliable, according to Wixom and Watson. This data processing by Sam Amos, we can see some of indicator is eliminated because loading factor is too high. The result is 4 hypotheses is accepted and 2 hypotheses is rejected. The rejected is work from home is not influence significant to job performance, and job satisfaction is not significant to job performance. But the other is accepted. Example, work from home is significant influence to work environment. Also, work from home significant influence to work motivation, and work from home impact to job satisfaction, and also work motivation impact to job performance. According to the critical ratio by Wang, say minimum is 1.96. This discussion, hypothesis 1 show a significant effect work from home policy on work environment, and the result confirmed the acceptance of the hypothesis were substantial relationship between both entire group. This outcome also support previous study where employees were allowed to directly manage schedule and workplace setting under the similar policy, according to Balt, Gajendran, Harrison, Hyde, and Alan Goldney and Sockwood. Also, hypothesis 2 is observe a great influence of work from home policy on job satisfaction. This is according to Scarl, Laurel, Firik, and Madel as the previous researcher. And also hypothesis suggests that work from home substantially impact work motivation, and the result confirmed the hypothesis where a positive relation exists as work from home influence job satisfaction. This is also in line with Chong, Olafson, Shockley, and Allen, and Zhu. Hypothesis 4 also show a great effect of work environment on job performance, and the result of hypothesis also confirm the occurrence of a positive relationship. This is also in line with previous research Jeffet, Hill, Anasi, Belzengui, Eraso, Purmo, and Belzenguit, Eraso also. Hypothesis 5 proposed that job satisfaction significant effect to work from home, but this is therefore hypothesis 5 was not supported by the data. This result contradictive with several studies is Sloan, Cersei, Dirisu, Sandstrom, and Sandstrom. This finding proposed for future research on factors that cause job satisfaction does not affect to performance. Hypothesis 6 is reported an extensive influence of work motivation on job performance. This is also rejected, and this contradictive or conflict with the researcher before is Breuk, Arshadi, and Riyadi, and Steinberg. This is the funding also proposed as an alternative for future research on the factor that cause job satisfaction does not affect to performance. The conclusion, the numerical results show the work from home personnel were able to experience significant motivation, critical ratio is more than standard, and also performance critical ratio is more than standard, but not in terms of job satisfaction and environment. This implies the need to develop an innovative approach as a reference for implementing effect work from home in actual business practice by increasing motivational factor as a catalyst for improving employee performance. The implication of this study for manager and business practice related to finding a new model as a reference for the implementation of effective and practical work from home strategy for organization. Therefore, there is a need to ensure no debate about the policy consequences arise. This is a recommendation model for future research for next time because the work from home this is so that influence work motivation and job performance. For next study, maybe can analyze the job satisfaction to work environment and work environment to work motivation. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, Pak Richard, you can stop your screen and then we can move to the question and answer session. So I would like to give the opportunity to the floor if you have any question. No question? Okay. So if I may, I want to ask you a question about the, so you use LinkedIn ya, LinkedIn ya Pak Richard ya. So yes. How how I said this question. So you use LinkedIn as operator or you use your own network, LinkedIn, and can you identify like potential bias from the use of this LinkedIn feature as your? Yeah.
This is not the operator, is my link
network.
Yeah. This is I have more than 10 what I say, I believe this one because the respondent, because working more than 3 years, more than 3 years. The criteria is more than 3 years, but maybe this one is a limitation of the study is I only get 700 from 5,000. 5,000 population, I have only 700 respondent. The feedback, the data feedback to me.
So you have 5,000 friends and then connection, I mean, yes. And then you invite them to fill in the questionnaire and then you get about
but
700.
I think it's a homogen. Yeah. Homogen is because it's all the 700 is employee working and minimal working is 3 years minimal. I think it's homogen.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I want to just suggest to put like limitation of this maybe potential bias of your respondent, not representing like population of the workers itself. Okay. Thank you, Pak Richard, for your presentation. Maybe okay. Oh, Mas Yogi, you want to ask directly? I think you have an interesting question here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. I am actually looking forward to some of the questions that you said going to be asked in the next round. Another question that I think can also be asked is about the time management around or when the working from home is being conducted, because many anecdotal evidence suggests that people unconsciously put more working hours during the work from home because there is no like office hour when the time is ended to move on. And on the other hand, they also have some advantage because they don't have to commute. So do you have any comment on this from your earlier observation? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yogi. Based on the data, the 700 respondents say that they, what I mean, they don't think about the job satisfaction and others. They think only motivation. The motivation is important for the employee. Sometimes employee see the he work or she work on office. The boss see them or face to face, see them. But if working at everywhere or from home or from cafe or from where, everywhere, the boss don't see, and the boss only see the result. Sometimes the result is how to say the bad result, but the process is very little time, as you say before, is maybe overtime from morning to night working, but the result maybe is a bad result. But the boss is the leader didn't see what the process. It is important for employee. They want the motivation. Don't see only result, because work from home or work from everywhere didn't see the process, only see the result. But the employee already tried to the best the process, but maybe the result is not as according to the boss or leader requirement, maybe like that.
Okay, Mas Yogi, you have any more? Okay, okay then. I think we can end this presentation. Yeah. So thank you for your excellent presentation, and thank you also for Pak Yogi to raise question. I think we can give applause, yeah, to Pak Richard, and then we can move to the third presenter. So we have Ibu Siti Parhah. Yeah. Okay, Ibu Siti, you can prepare your slide. And your time is 25 minutes, 15 minutes for presentation.
Okay, thank you. Allow me for use the two devices because there have some technical issue in my laptop.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, could you? Okay.
Okay. Wait a moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Siti Parhah from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. In this paper, I collaborated with Bu Armida Alisjahbana, Pak Muhamad Fahmi, and Pak Muhamad Purnagunawan from Universitas Pajajaran. Actually, they are my supervisor when I was in doctoral program in Universitas Pajajaran. Okay. So I will start.
Hello, this is just me, or all of you cannot hear Bu Siti? Mbak Ellen, can you hear Bu Siti?
I cannot hear Bu Siti too.
Okay, Bu Siti, we have trouble to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can close your video.
I will stop. I will off cam. Okay. Okay. So okay. I will start. I will start again.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay. If we refer to the first generation teachers, in terms of relationship between the social network and labor market. Now that network have many beneficial effects. Okay. Particularly for getting a job. For instance, Granovetter, he is a first generation in this area, found that about more than 50% worker in US obtain a job from the networks or contacts. He also found that people who got their job through contact have higher salaries on average than people who found their job through other means or formal channels.
I'm sorry, Bu Siti, we cannot see your slide.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So many technical issues. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why contact matters is that the connect can provide exclusive access to job information and also reduce competition for job openings and then generating wage premiums over what can be obtained through the use of formal job finding strategies. Despite the early evidence of wage premium associated with informal hiring, subsequent research has produced mixed results actually. For example, Mo point out that the relationship or the networks it could simply be the result of friendship selection as a form of referral channel. Or in other words, the purported benefits of being matched by a high status contact could result from the fact that highly successful individuals are commonly connected to other highly successful individuals. So based in this argument, Mo asserted that homophily aspect is dominant in this case. So to date, recently, both economists and sociology actually has reached a tentative consensus actually on the effectiveness on informal hiring for generating wage benefit. Several studies, for example, McDonald's, Berardi, Smute, they found that searching for job with the help of personal contact result is no wage advantage for job seekers relative to workers who found their job via formal job search method. And then why migrants? Actually, for migrants, network can be a factor attracting them to move and work in destination areas. By the networks, also they can minimize asymmetric information in obtaining a job. And if we look at the data in IFS, for example, it is almost in general in the labor market, almost 2/3, almost I forget the specific value, but more than 60% labor use the network for getting a job. And basically for internal migrants tend to use network as a form of compensation for their low education actually. So based on this, actually maybe we can preliminary hypothesize that for migrants, the wage or income that they receive will tend to be lower than the others. So, and then this is another for economic model and the data that we use. Actually, we use switching regression. This is actually for tackling or handling the indigeneity issues in social network, because as you know that in social network, how many indigenous indigeneity aspects that affect the model. So commonly that method to explore the relationship between social network and wage is OLS wage equation. For example, means the wage equation when if we are using OLS, for example, we can include a dummy variable that's equal to 1 for when people use the social network to find a job, and 0 for others. But when we use OLS, we have a problem with the sample selection bias, and this is can a big problem for this model. So actually, we before we use switching regression, we also try to use OLS method and Heckman selection method also, but in Heckman selection, we are missing the some observation. If we has a dummy 1 for the user of network and 0 for others or non-user of network, so if we use Heckman selection, we can observe the non-user of network. So we actually then we use switching regression, so we can observe the both regime, actually the user of network and then non-user of network. So in switching regression, we have two regression. The first for selecting model, and then for the earning equation. And then after we regress to sample selection model and the earnings equation, I mean, we then measure the earning differential between user of network and non-user of network. This is use unconditional expectation and conditional expectation. And for this measure, we use formula from Loksin Sajaya, and then we refer to Madala also, as well as, and then I think Adamczyk also. Okay, so this is unconditional expectation. This is for expecting the this is the first. This is for the user of network, and the second is for the non-user of network. And for conditional expectation, this is the first. This is expectation for the user of network, and then and we predicted the earnings for the user of network. And the second is for the user of network, and we can predicted the predicting the wage of user of network if they choose the non-user of network. And the third is expected expectation for the non-user of network if they choose as non-user of network. And the last is for the non-user of network if they choose as user of network. Okay, and we use the data from Indonesia Family Life Survey, and we define the user of network as individual or a migrant that got a job through information from friends or family or contacted by the company or employer. And we can see by this data, almost 0.5% of migrants use network for getting a job. And this is monthly earning on average. So we can see that this is earnings for user of network, and this is for non-user of network. So how about the result? Okay, I jump to this slide. Okay, so in the first we regress the selection model. So this is the result, and this is for the earning equation. Continue to the right hand side. Okay. In switching regression, when we can conclude that is there any self-selection or positive selection or negative selection in this model, it can be seen by the raw value. And this is the raw value for non-user of network. And this is raw value for user of network. So we can see that for both non-user and user of network have positive selection because this is collection and significant. So we conclude that there is, I think, switching regression is proper to regress this model. So how about the earning differential? Okay, this is earning differential between non-user of network and user of network. This is observed value. This is the real value of wages or earnings from user of network and user of network, and we can compare observed value between two agents. And I use the formula from Madala. Okay. And this is unconditional from user of network, and also we can compare with non-user of network, unconditional. But for conditional value, we just can compare this conditional on user of network and conditional on user of network. So we can see that for user of network, actually we can see that the user of network is suggested to stay in the conditional, because if we can see the mean value of earnings, it is they will get a wage penalty if they switch to as non-user of network. But for non-user of network, we can see that the if they stay as conditional on non-user of network, they will receive the wage premium then if they switch to network users. Okay. So based on this result, we can conclude that yes, there is tremendous earning gaps between user of network and non-user of network based on the earning differential table that we have. Okay, and then we can confirm actually from the earnings model that migrant is relatively unskilled workers, yeah, and so they have wage penalties in the labor market. So, and then experience and education actually play an important role in influencing the differences of migrant earnings, because if we look at the data, for example, this is the education variable. So, but based on the result actually, maybe I agree that the network actually help or give assistance for migrants to get a job, but unfortunately, the network cannot help to obtain the wage premium for the migrant in Indonesia. So that is from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Siti, for your interesting presentation. So I would like to give the floor opportunity to ask or give comments to Ibu Siti presentation. Please. We don't have any question in the chat box, but you can ask directly to Ibu Siti.
Okay.
No,
I'm sorry,
no
I
question.
must off cam.
Oh yeah,
Again,
that's okay.
no.
Yeah. Maybe I would like to ask something. Maybe it's not the, I don't know whether this is directly relevant to your study, but how do you see the trends of job searching platform in this type of a network? Yeah, so do you look at the trend of this platform and what kind of job, like maybe it is more to freelancer or it also accommodate like formal and permanent jobs there, and then the sectors itself, whether it is mostly to like IT or finance, or it is also accommodate like, you know, like more conventional sectors. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. just want to give you, this is not my field actually, but I'm interested in looking at this, how this platform relevant to your study maybe.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your question, Balin.
Yeah.
Actually, when we use the IFLS data, actually this is we have a big problem with the data in labor, specifically in labor, because actually in the first I try to make this aggregation, for example, for the does the migrant migrant worker work in the formal sector or the informal sector, or then or in specific job, or for example in finance, or and also, but when we merge the data, we have zero observation. So okay, we can do anything when we have zero observation. So I think this is a big problem with this IFLS data. Actually, in this study, we use cross-section data. So if you ask about the trend or others, I think we can see that. But if we disentangle the question in the questionnaire, we can see that the migrant in this study is more likely to use a network than others channel to get a job. So maybe I think this is my answer.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Bu Siti. Okay, anyone who wants to give comment or question or reflection or anything?
Ibu Alim?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to point out that I just want to give the comment that I have new insight from Ibu Siti presentation, as the following presentation, my topic also about migration, and we also use the IFLS data survey. We face the same technical problem about the data reduction when and they have some the skip pattern in the household survey or the data survey. But I just want to point out about why you only use the cross-sectional data in 2014. not with use the different ways of data survey, so you can see the pattern in the different time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Mbak Dwi, Ulan, Mbak Ulan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mbak Ulan. Okay. Actually, why we use the cross-section data specifically in wave 5 in IFLS? Okay, because this is relevant to the method that we use when we use the switching regression. Actually, we have any problem with for a selection in the instrumental variable for the selection model and so on. So we decide to use the cross section than the panel data because if we refer to other literature, so there maybe is there is a limited literature that use switching regression for panel data. So we honestly this is the our limitation actually, but we try to use the base for selection model for choosing the instrumental variable, because when we choose the instrumental variable, it is so many variable. Then we can try trial and error also, and then we find the right instrumental variable. So this is maybe can answer the question.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Ibu Siti.
Yeah. Anyone who want to raise question or comments? Okay. So if there is no one to ask question, so I would like to thank Ibu Siti Parhah for your interesting presentation, and also Bu Wulan, who has raised interesting question also. Okay, thank you very much. So now we will move to the, I think our last presenter, our last presenter. We have Ibu Wulan. Okay, thank you, Bu Wulan. You can prepare your slide, and your time is 25 minutes. So I think we still have quite a lot of time, for this, but maybe we can end this session faster than we think. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So please start, Bu Wulan, and I encourage you all to raise question and post your question in the chat also. Okay, please.
Okay. Thank you, Ibu Alin, for the time. This is Wulan Wiatwuri. I would like to present my ongoing thesis research about migration and transfer of gender norms in Indonesia with Ibu Evita Hani Pangaribo as my supervisor. But I want to, before we go, I want to point that this is ongoing thesis research. And so please note that the following results are very preliminary and subject to change. And because yes, like early mentioned by Ibu Siti in the previous presentation, that migration is a topic that has the many difficulties, technical issues in the data calculation. So I think it's a good opportunity for me to gather the valuable inputs from this conference for my future research development of this study. Okay, but before I go deeper, I want to highlight the study in 3 points. That my study is try to analyze whether migration experience affect the transfer of gender norms in Indonesia. And yeah, we find there's no evidence, statistically significant evidence that migration has any implication to the construction of gender norms in the household level in Indonesia. But we point another finding that confirming that education does has the positive impact to the gender equality construction. Yep. The development is closely related to the structural transformation that reflected by migration process. But now migration is seen as the gender phenomenon, then it could not be spirited in the discussion of gender equality. And the gender equality itself is one of the main enabler to reach the better development outcomes. And but before we talk about the gap or the differences, inequality in the outcome of the development, we need to seek the root why it could happen, and there is inequality in the development outcomes like health or education or earnings, for example, between the genders. So there are several studies that confirm that migration is closely related to the process of transferring knowledge and values derived from place of origin. But the interesting empirical studies from Tushwahba in Jordania found the negative relationship of the migration to the transfer of gender equality norms. That because in Jordanian family, they the mostly migrant is to the international migration to the Middle Eastern countries that has the more conservative gender norms pattern. And I think it is interesting for me to analyze the empirical case in Indonesia, as Indonesia has a more diverse pattern of migration, but Indonesia dominantly has the domestic migration rather than international migration. But Yaulu 2013 stated that it still has the international implication. So yeah, there's still very limited evidence to extend of the extent to which migration benefits the women in terms of bargaining power in the household level. Yes, we proxies the gender norms into the bargaining power. So, and the study is to analyze how the migration process construct the gender norms in the household level, as they are enabler for the development process. Yeah, we construct the index for gender norms application in the household using proxies of bargaining power in the decision making. Yep, we use a data survey from Indonesia Family Life Survey from 2 waves of 2007 and 2014. And this data representing 83% of Indonesian population from 13 provinces with the contact rate of 90% from the first wave, and that's good longitudinal data in Indonesia. And it's also provide the data of migration and then the perception of gender norms in terms of decision making in the household as our variable of interest. And we limited our sample to the individual level age from 18 years old until 70 years old. For the measurement of gender norms of our dependent variable, we replicate from Ramohan and Johar that use the 3 indexes to reflect the women autonomy in the household. There are 3 groups of index. The first one is a question that reflected about the personal autonomy of women and their children. And the second index is provide information about women's autonomy in managing household resources and in the economy. And the third is related to the women's mobility, freedom of mobility. And we we construct the composite index using the 3 techniques of weighting, equal weight, PCA, and MCA for robustness check. For the migration experience, we use a variable of migration experience over the last 5 years from 2007, and we do not separate whether it is international or just a domestic migration, and it can also carried out by not only her or himself, but also the other house member, like their spouse or parents or siblings, etc. And we also control the reason of migration, like work or education purpose or family-related migration. And we also control the characteristic of individual, household, and geographical, and also kinship norms. Yeah, we use this strategy, empirical strategy for fixed effect, but we also face the endogeneity of migration experience. It cannot suffer from the endogeneity, and it's also has the problem of causality, whether the migration experience has the impact for the gender norms, or gender norms has the effect for a decision making, or people decide to migrate. It is confirmed with the study from Reason and Solomon about realization, different realization of the migration intention between genders in, if I'm not mistaken, it's in America. So we use the strategy of 2SLS, and we employ the instrumental variable of migration proportion, as Ibu Siti mentioned before, that yes, networks does has the strong power to the intention and realization people to migrate. And this is the summary statistic. We see the difference wave result mean proportion between 2 waves, but we can see the declining on the mean proportion of our dependent variables that construct to the composite index of gender norms from 2007 to 2014. For another descriptive statistic for another variable used in this estimation, we compare with the household that has the migrant member and without migrant member. There are statistically significant difference in terms of mean, and this is the different mean proportion between the household that has migrant and non-migrant. As we can see that the household that without migrant member has the bigger value rather than household that has the migrant member. And this is the preliminary result. We by controlling all the variables, we employ the two scenarios of fixed effect and also two SLS, and then we use three scenarios of weighting techniques in constructing the indexes. We don't see any significant results on migration experience could affect the women's autonomy in terms of their personal and child related. But actually, the migration proportion is the weak instrumental variable. So as Ali mentioned before, this is the preliminary result because we face the challenges in finding the good IV for migration experience. The consistent result also shown in the women economic autonomy. We have no significant evidence on effect of migration experience to the women's economic autonomy. And so with the mobility autonomy has no effect from migration experience. But another finding that we can discuss is the consistent result of age combined with age square. And also for the personal and child related autonomy, we find interesting result that male-headed household has the better autonomy for women in terms of personal and child related, and the kinship norms that equal inheritance show the greater magnitudes compared to another kinship norms. For the economic autonomy, we only has the significant in the MCA scenario. We have years of education that positive and a significant effect for women economic autonomy, and also male-headed, like mentioned before. And the other interesting point is that neolocal or newly married couple that live separately between their parents has the lower women's economic autonomy. And for female inheritance has the greater magnitude than equal inheritance kinship norms. For mobility autonomy, yes, we also has find the years of education that has the positive and significant impact for mobility autonomy. And the regional control in Yogyakarta and Central Java shown the better mobility autonomy with respect to another regional in the survey. And for the kinship norms, a female inheritance reveals positive and significant result with PCA and MCA scenario, but other kinship norms has no statistically significant result. That's a provisional conclusion. Using three difference index, we find no statistically significant evidence whether the migration experience of family members can affect the gender norms. But we want to point out about the important role of education to the gender norms construction in terms of bargaining power of economic and mobility autonomy. Thank you. That's all my presentation. And for the valuable inputs and suggestions, very appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mbak Wulan, for your presentation. So we have one question in the chat. Mas Romi, maybe you want to ask directly to Mbak Wulan?
thank you very much. It's not a question. It's just a little input. I really enjoy your presentation. It is an interesting topic. And maybe Mbak Wulan can use information whether the households have any experience of economic shock or natural disaster and their origin. So it could drive them to migrate in other areas. And this can be used as a potential instrument, I guess. And this information can be found in the IRSA, like it's in natural disaster section at 238. So
yeah, please, Mbak Wulan, if you have any comments for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Romy, for the valuable inputs. I already acknowledge and it has in my mind that the natural disaster shock is a exogenous terms for instrumenting the migration experience. But yeah, I already try the natural disaster shock, but I face new problem with the data reduction because the natural disaster shock is in the community level, and yeah, we still has the chillings to what is it, merging it into the household levels or also in the individual levels. But yeah, thank you for your suggestion. But I will try to maybe an economic shock, or there's study about that I read before, a shock from economic shock from employment. Thank you.
yes, it's also available in the household questionnaire, so not only in the community. But it's
Yes.
it's self-report. Like there is a list of questions about that. Like how many times you were
Yes.
how many times you suffer from natural disaster, like in the past 5 years, something like that.
Yeah. I tried before using the household level information of disaster, but the number of household that answer about the natural disaster shock is just very limited. And after we combine it with the migration data information, there are many data reduction from this, and still this is still the problem for our study. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for Mas Romi. Maybe other participant want to ask Mbak Wulan. No? Yeah, so okay. Okay, if you don't have any question, it is interesting, yeah. In our session, 3 out of 4 study use IFL's data, yeah. Yeah, so we know that Susanas also have this social capital module, but the problem. Oh, Pak Adenantera, yeah, please, Pak Adenantera, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Wulan, for the presentation. It's very interesting how we can utilize EFLS for different research purposes. And I'm really excited with the like researchers to work on this data set. So yeah, one of the issue about this EFLS is that sometimes we cannot find like any explanatory variable that properly measure what we want to measure. There are some issues about the response respond, bias and so on. So I'm just wondering if you still couldn't find any effect or any contribution of in your original studies. Do you think any other kind of like stories that you can offer from your research? Because I imagine that you already invested a lot of time to do this research. So I'm just thinking about what kind of different stories or different alternative research question that you can pose from this your studies.
Yeah, thank you, Bapak Adenantera, for the question. Actually, the insignificant result is also the new finding, but as I early mentioned that if migration has no impact, or maybe the household with the migrant member and without migrant member has no statistically difference in terms of gender norms in their household. So maybe the construction of gender norms in their household affected by another factors that could be an idea of this study if we find no statistically significant evidence that migration has the important role on construction of gender norms in the household. And yeah, as early mentioned that maybe the powerful mechanism to get the better equality practice in the household is the better education, and this is confirmed by the statistically significant result from the years of education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Adenantera, and thank you for Mbak Wulan for your presentation. Very interesting topic, yeah. We now move to the end of our session. Very interesting topic, yeah. But personally, I hope that statistical office, yeah, like DPS, can explore more on this social capital question, yeah. So maybe in Susenas, maybe we can have more comprehensive question, yeah. So most of the social capital study using EFLS, although we know that Susenas has this module, but this is only 3 years period, and the question is not as deep as IFLS, yeah. Maybe looking at the increasing study, yeah, the preference of these scholars to explore social capital. I hope this BPS can insert more question, yeah, on their question, yeah, module. Okay, thank you all for the participant, also Mas Yogi, yeah, Mas Romi, for your active participation. See you again in the next session, yeah. Enjoy the conference.